Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the top things to do here in Shanghai. So I was born in Shanghai and I did move to New Zealand when I was about 3 years old, but we've come back to Shanghai many times.
That's right, this is my third time.
And so we got a little bit of knowledge about what you can do for fun.
First up, let's go check out Yuan Garden.
Yuan Garden is a super popular tourist site. There are tons of people here. This is a weekday right now, and on the weekends you can expect 2 times more the amount of people. People come here from everywhere to get souvenirs. You can also get some of the street food, but our family usually comes here for the restaurants. The xiaolong bars here are very special. They come with a little bit of the river crab meat or the hairy crabs, and we're going to sample some of them in our Best Eats episode, which we'll leave the link to right over there. You can also check out the amazing architecture that's all around. Right over there is the famous tea place, which is over 200 years old. It's centered right inside the lake area.
Another thing you can do while you're here at Yuan Garden is come find this 9-corner bridge. Be sure to take a look over the sides because you're going to find some massive carp.
So one of the things that you're going to want to see while you're here in Yuan Garden, as the name will suggest, is the garden itself. Unfortunately, it's closed for maintenance on this trip that we're here. So we just found a pretty interesting store. Deep underground in Siberia lies archaeological finds of woolly mammoths, and they found a huge tusk and turned it into this amazing piece of art right over here. But you better get your checkbook ready because this thing costs $900,000 USD.
Yuan Garden is a huge area. You can easily spend an entire day here, especially if you love shopping and good food. At nighttime, the lights come on and it's a completely different vibe. Definitely worth checking out. Be aware that it closes around about 8 p.m. though, and it is super touristy, but an awesome place to visit. Walking along Waitan, aka the Bund, is a definite must-do when you are here in Shanghai, but trust us, at night it's even more spectacular.
Got modern buildings on this side, and behind us you've got old colonial buildings over 100 years old, full of history.
Come either in the daytime or the nighttime, it's spectacular either way.
Yeah, and the raised leverage area that we're at now ensures that you get a really great view of both sides equally.
Unobstructed.
Architecture here in Shanghai is incredibly unique, and on the modern side, Yen and I have nicknamed some of the buildings from the bottle opener to the transformer to the needle. And on the colonial side, you learn a lot about the history of Shanghainese architecture, whether it's buildings from the British era or from the French era. You can also see the very first HSBC bank, which is right over there.
Something you should know is that you need to come here before 10 o'clock at night because on the dot, the lights switch off.
Back in the day, the Bund was on the colonial side of China, and back over there is the Chinese side of China. And people from China were actually forced to pay to cross over into the colonial side until that bridge right behind me was made, which is called Waibai Duqiao, and it was the only free way of getting across the other side, which is kind of weird if you ask me, because we're in China and the Chinese people had to pay to get over to the other side of the bridge, which is also still in China. But thank goodness for that bridge behind me. Very significant piece of Chinese history.
One of the best ways to get around to any of these spots is via MRT. You need one of these cards. It costs 20 yuan. You can pick it up from one of these service stations, and the MRT is clearly marked in both English, Chinese and Pinyin, so it is easy to find your way around. The trips are fairly cheap. It costs around about 3 to 10 yuan per trip so far for us. We are currently at the Shanghai Museum, which is home to 130,000 pieces of national treasure.
There are 4 floors of goodness. This place was built in 1952. Art, history, culture. Definitely gonna have to check this out.
Entry into the museum is free and there are audio guides available. It's only 50 kuai for the foreign version or 20 kuai for local Chinese. There's also a tea house if you're getting a bit thirsty, and we are currently on floor 2, which specializes in the ceramics era.
Growing up, we lived in a typical Chinese household. We have blue porcelain plates and bowls, and it's interesting reading about the history of these items because this used to only be reserved for royalty. It's an extremely difficult process making these kind of porcelain ceramics. You'd have to take metal cobalt and burn it onto the plates and bowls itself.
Here on level 3, you'll find a massive collection of ancient Chinese seals. Seals used to be used on official documents by only the high-ranked officials and then later on by private individuals too, basically as a form of signature. You still see it all the way through to today on things like paintings, and I think I found my favorite one. Can you just imagine how someone would have had to inscribe all those tiny, tiny characters perfectly onto the sides of that seal? I think that's pretty incredible.
And that concludes our time here at the Shanghai Museum. Definitely a top thing to do when you're visiting the city, especially if you're interested to learn more about Chinese culture.
Another one of the things that you're going to want to do here in Shanghai is visit Bund Street, which is where we're at right now. This is located in French Quarter, and the reason why it's so good is if you're coming to Shanghai, you're going to want to pick up souvenirs anyway, right? This area has a lot better things and a lot more better prices as well. Let's go check it out.
Mum just bought that tissue box there. It's clay and it's painted over. I think she was waiting too long for me while I was getting my bubble tea, so I ended up shopping more.
You're going to find a whole bunch of different unique souvenirs here, not stuff that you're going to be able to see in other local tourist spots.
And a lot of these stores are independently owned, so you won't find them anywhere else.
My dad used to work here when he was 16 years old on the street. Back then it was just a local market though, and he sold soy sauce from a tiny little store for, I think it was $18 a month.
Or white rabbit is a very famous little candy that you can get here in Shanghai, unique to Shanghai, and they now have branched out into hand creams and lip balms, which we're going to pick up for our friends Kirch and Drew. Getting these guys.
If you head off the main street into one of the side streets, what you'll find is a lot of these old buildings. That's because all of these were built during the French colonial era.
There's so many twists and turns to this place. Make sure you come explore everything. Each lane sort of has something that's more unique to itself. Definitely a place that you want to check out when you're here in Shanghai. Shanghai cityscape has changed incredibly over the last couple of years, and that's got to be thanks to their fantastic city planning. We are currently here at the Shanghai Urban City Planning Exhibition Center. It's shaped like a white magnolia, which is the flower of Shanghai. Let's go check this out. It's 30 yuan per adult, and the place is open from Tuesdays to Sundays, 9 to 5 p.m. There are 6 floors in total, including the one that we're currently on, and it's recommended that you go from bottom to top. Level 2 is only open for temporary exhibits.
Someone who is born in Shanghai, it's particularly cool for myself to come here and read about the history of Shanghai and its development as a city. The main attraction to the center is found on level 3, where you will find a life-size model of the entire Shanghai cityscape. The scale is 500 to 1 and it's super impressive. Every single time I come back to Shanghai every couple of years, it always fills me with pride to see how much it's changed. So we've got photos of the Bund from like 7 years ago. It has so few of the massive buildings that it's got now. This time that we've gone, we've been super blown away by the amount of lights and the buildings as well.
So this place isn't only about buildings, you can also learn about the evolution of Shanghai's transportation, and it is pretty astounding. And on the top floor there's a cafe for you to enjoy a drink surrounded by the incredible cityscape. This place is a very interactive type of exhibition center. We're here on a Wednesday, so it's very nice and quiet too. Definitely come check it out if you're interested in learning more about how Shanghai and its urban planning came to be.
For our final thing to do here in Shanghai, we recommend a sunset cruise down Huangpu River. Tickets are 120 per person. You pick them up from one of these mobile kiosks along the way, and they depart every hour. If you're looking for where the ferries depart, you just need to come down this way, look for the wavy structure thing, and it's just down there. Oh, there's a little bit of rockiness already. I do have motion sickness, so I hope we'll be okay, but I think we came at just the right time. Views are guaranteed to be spectacular.
Well, you reckon pretty romantic, right?
I don't know about romantic, but it is spectacular views. Because we came here at sunset time, all the lights are starting to come on now.
You get 360 views of modern Shanghai city, and it's coming along at a nice slow pace, 45-minute ride right on this boat. And that wraps up the top things to do here in Shanghai. Shanghai is a massive modern city full with lots of things to do and eat, so one day is never enough. You're gonna spend a couple of days here, that'll be fine.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you do, you know what to do. Give us those likes, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, drop us a comment. We love reading your comments.
Yeah, catch you next time.
I'll catch you then.